Instagram gives that day-to-day, behind the scenes, better picture of what makes you Candy, what drives your
Mhm.
business, how you are running your business. So LinkedIn might be like, here is an article that I wrote about XYZ, versus Instagram is, here's how I'm involved in the community. Here's how I'm helping others.
Welcome to Biz Help for You, the show that saves you the expensive learning curve by providing advice from industry experts in every facet of the entrepreneurial journey. Too many small businesses collapse. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20% fail within their first year, and less than 35% make it to their 10th anniversary. The goal of this podcast is to change that statistic. So if you're interested in learning more to be a successful entrepreneur, tune in today.
Let me tell you a little bit about my guest today. Valentina Escobar-Gonzalez is a seasoned marketer, educator, and award-winning social media strategist. She's also the co-author of The Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever and is a sought-after speaker who has been featured on national podcasts. Valentina specializes in leveraging social media, particularly Instagram, to help businesses grow their brand and engage effectively with their audiences. You can learn how to effectively utilize Instagram to build brand awareness, engage with your audience, and ultimately drive business growth by implementing strategic content creation and staying ahead of algorithm changes. So Valentina, welcome to the show.
Candy, I am so honored to be here with you today. I have a feeling we're going to have such a great time.
I think so too. I'm glad that I had the chance to meet you. We actually got to meet in person. Many of my guests, I haven't had the chance to meet in person because we're dispersed all across the United States and even many inside the other countries. But I was glad to have met you and decided this is a great topic. I should have you on my show to talk about this because so many people get confused on all the social media and what to do. Instagram especially can sometimes be confusing. So I'm glad to have you here. But before I get into questions, I would love to have you tell us just a little bit more of how did you become a social media strategist?
And again, it's so fun that we actually know each other. We actually ran into each other twice in a week. So what I do is I get businesses up to speed with the latest in social media marketing, whether it's Instagram, whether it's LinkedIn. I help businesses stand out. And the thing is I've been a business owner at the time of this recording for 13 years. People have told me that I've been a pioneer when it comes to social media marketing. I actually created my job opportunity for myself because there was no jobs at the time hiring for that. I was finishing up my MBA program, and the answer to every project, every group project was like, let's start a Facebook. Let's start let's jump on LinkedIn. So it was so funny that was my response to everything, because if we could just communicate with our customers, if we could just have that communication and that dialogue, we would get so much out there with them, and not so much sales. It's just having that authenticity and say, hey, this is who we are here. This is where we're coming from.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad to have this conversation with you. I know I've been on Facebook too for a long time, right? Since I originally did it because I wanted to stay in touch with family that was dispersed. And so, yes, I have a page for my business and everything too. And of course, I have LinkedIn, which for me is the best one because I'm business to business.
Yeah.
I have Instagram too, but I feel I'm not so great at that. Like even on the app, I don't always know how to do certain things. And at first I thought, well, I am a service business. It's not necessarily something that is ideal for me, where someone who's a restaurant or maybe selling jewelry and things like that, maybe it's good for them. But I am trying to do better and learning about it. And each platform has so many different things, So I would love for you first maybe to even talk about what are some of the common mistakes that you do see businesses making, whether they're using Instagram or other platforms you want to discuss, and how do we avoid making those mistakes?
I'm so glad that you told us your journey from Facebook to LinkedIn. A lot of people think, okay, I have to have two separate lives. So with LinkedIn, it has about 200 million active users in the United States, and 50% of social media traffic from B2B, which is what your bread and butter is coming from LinkedIn. And 4 out of the 5 members are, on this platform are in charge of business decisions. So we're talking about 2 times the buying power. So you have your whole B2B audience. Then we talk about Instagram, where it's more informal. It's more about how can I get to know Candy not the person I'm going to run into in the downtown with the family members, but I want to see more about Candy. What drives her? What motivates her? What is she into? Does she have any community service project, or some passion projects that she's involved with? So you might not be talking about these things on LinkedIn, and this is a great opportunity to talk about Instagram and how you are more than just what you're posting on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
You are a human behind everything that you're doing. So Instagram gives that day-to-day, behind the scenes, better picture of what makes you Candy, what drives your
Mm-hmm.
business, how you are running your business. So LinkedIn might be like, here is an article that I wrote about XYZ, versus Instagram is, here's how I'm involved in the community. Here's how I'm helping others. Here's this podcast episode that I'm talking to with Valentina about Instagram and LinkedIn. So it's a little bit more behind the scenes. It's and what I love about Instagram is you can start following someone and you can comment with them, you can leave them mentions, you can tag them in a post, and it really creates this dialogues. I've met so many people on Instagram that we've become good friends and actually have become clients because it's so informal. It's such an easy, it's like going to a cocktail party where you just, oh yes, how nice to meet you. It's very informal versus LinkedIn. There's that structure behind it. If you don't know who that person is, you're not going to accept their connection request.
Well, and I've seen people are creating stories and doing different things, and for me, I find it kind of overwhelming sometimes because I don't necessarily know what I should be creating outside of content. Like we use this podcast, like this is going to be, shared on Instagram, and we'll have a reel or different things. And I have an admin that helps, with all of that too.
You have help to do that for you because
yes,
I think that's
I don't do a lot of it. I need to have help. But, I see things too where there's not even conversation. There's someone is doing something in the background and then they pop up some words or something too. And it's not necessarily even related to what they do in business. And I'm like, well, I don't even know what I should be doing for that type of thing. And is it going to be relevant? And are people going to like it? Like, I think I'm a little structured and I'm still on the business side of things that sometimes it's hard to think about this other side of what I should be doing. Like, do you have any tips for me and others like me who
I love that
struggle in
about
this
you,
area?
Candy, because the thing is, it's like, what's the ROI of me posting about what I had for lunch? So when you think about stories, let's talk about stories. Let's dissect Instagram in a second here. So stories, which are the things that disappear in 24 hours, you have the last number I checked was about 700 to 800 million people are looking at stories every single day. So this is a huge number. A lot of people think I'm going to just slap on a picture, talk about my lunch for the day and call it a day. Well, no, maybe you're working on a project. Maybe, like I said, you're recording a podcast episode. I know in the past when I've done podcasts, I guess less guests featured on podcasts, the person has taken a picture of us and posts it on stories and tags me. Well, there's a science to stories. When you look at the holiday shopping, I know depending on what type of year, the season of the year, but 60% of people do window shopping through stories. So they're looking at those sort of things. I was just listening to a webinar that people start planning their Pinterest campaigns for the holiday season in July. So people are way ahead. And I feel, Candy, I feel like you're a type A, type awesome. So you are very proactive, I bet. But the thing is with stories on Instagram, again, you have about 700 to 800 million people looking at your stories. They might not see your newsfeed posts, but what are you doing to have them come back on a daily basis? So as a small business owner and a marketer, every day I have a story that's active. And you'll be surprised, Candy, it's always the same people that are coming back day after day looking at my stories. And these are not just random people that I don't know. These are people that have really nice jobs. They're high-end professionals, and they want to see what's up with Valentina today.
So are you not worried at all about, like, if it's too personal, like for instance, let me just use an example. I like to bake sourdough, right?
Okay,
I got into it a year and a half ago.
We're going to have to get a slice of that sourdough because I have a weakness for sourdough.
Okay, so since I do see you periodically in person, if I know I'm going to see you, then I will bring you some.
Perfect.
But is that something that I should be sharing? Like, this is like, I just mixed up a batch of sourdough, or here's my starter. It's very active. I'm ready to bake. Is that something that I should really be putting out
Yes,
there?
yes.
Or,
Okay, because hold
okay.
on, I'm getting hungry. Even though I just had lunch, I had a huge lunch at a small
Mhm.
business. You know what I love about that? Every time I see a sourdough, I'm gonna think about you, Candy. And the thing is that there's
Okay.
there's always a business lesson because like people relate with me with cookies. I know Larry was talking about cookies in a past episode, and I love that analogy because I have a weakness for cookies, but I also like sourdough. So every time I think of someone or I see a sourdough, I'll be thinking candy. And what about the
Mm,
business lessons? We've seen so many people that maybe do real estate and they talk about their sourdough and the starter and how it's 100 years old and how you have to have the patience to
mhm,
bake sourdough bread because it's not an instantaneous thing that most of my generation wants now.
mhm.
Sourdough, you have
Right.
to have the patience. It doesn't take, an hour. It takes a day. I
Mhm,
don't know. I've never done sourdough, but that's why it's so enticing to me because I know it's a lot of work. But that's the type of stuff that you would say in a story. And so when I do
mhm,
stories, I don't just post a picture and slap it on. I tag the location. You get 79% more engagement when you geotag or add a location to your story. So people that are not even following you, if you tag in your city and state, they'll be like, okay, that's pushing that story to a radius of people. The new people that
mhm,
move to your town that are from different states, they are lost. They have their GPS on. Your story might potentially show up on their stories because they have their GPS on. So again, 79% of people, it's going to increase engagement by 79%. I also utilize hashtags. So whether it's newsfeed or with the stories, it depends. People are saying hashtags are not relevant. I don't want to. I'm going to use hashtags on Instagram forever because that's how I've
mhm,
gone to grow my business because of the uses of hashtags. But back in the day, they would say that with one hashtag, you would get 79% more engagement and 300% more likes. So this is something you still want to keep utilizing. So again, when you slap
mhm,
on a story, whether you do a story or a newsfeed post, put the different locations. So when I've done podcast episodes with people, I say, here, I'm in Pittsburgh, I'm in Vermont. I'm technically not in Pittsburgh or Vermont, but the host lives there. So
mm,
that's pushing my
mhm,
stuff to not only where I live, but to the different cities and states in the area where the podcast has been, posted. So those are type of things
mhm.
that you want to do. Again, Instagram is very informal. This is where we get to know you as a person. If someone's trying to make a decision between you or someone else that has the same service as you, if I start following you on Instagram, maybe you'll tell me some business tips on how sourdough is simple, is this related to business. But you're also going to give me a perspective and you're going to humanize that brand
Mm,
because your industry, what you do, Candy, it's very, it's very, black and white. There has to be some sort of gray that makes me appreciate and have some substance behind what your posts are doing, what you're saying.
mhm, mhm. So then if someone is seeing this and you want to increase engagement at some point too, like how do you actually have effective strategies so that people are like true followers, not the people who are like spamming me saying like, oh, for $50 I'll get you 1,000
Yeah.
followers or whatever.
Yeah.
No, like real followers, real engagement. How do you actually get that?
It's funny that you asked that. So I have a thing where I turn on notifications for people like clients, MVPs. Think about who are your MVPs, who are your top clients, people you want to work with, maybe the media. And I always say this is the funniest thing. Who's the ketchup to your mustard? So who are complementary businesses
Mhm,
that you can partner with? So I turn on notifications. I go to the profile, I follow them. I do this on Instagram and on LinkedIn as well. I turn on the bell icon. So every time they post something, I get notified on my home screen that they've posted. Why do you want to do this? I read a Forbes article that basically gave me an anxiety attack, and it says that 50 to 60% of your business is from your current customers, while 5 to 20 or 12% are new people. So here we are
mhm,
going after the shiny new object, the new customer, the new person, when we just need to cultivate the relationships that we have with our current customers, people that we've proven ourselves to, that we are the expert in our field. So when I turn on the bell icon, I double tap, I engage, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn, I engage with the post, I comment, so that way I'm top of mind. So if someone needs help with social media or AI or marketing in general, they'll reach out to me and think of me because
mhm,
I'm actively engaging with their posts. Now, when it comes to posts, you want to post something and actually have a call to action or question. And you want to ask a question. Do you want to learn more? Do you want to get more involved? What stood out to you? What's the hardest thing about baking sourdough? Is it finding the right starter or leaving it on your kitchen counter for 5 hours? Like those sort of things. You want to invite the question. You want to invite the answers by asking those questions at the bottom of the post.
That's a good tip, because I think a lot of times we don't have those questions. We just post something, we have our comments or whatever, the hashtags, that get added and not the questions. So that's a good tip. So do you want to talk maybe too about like themes that we should be having? Like, I know people say we need to have things that match our brand across, the platforms. Is that the same for Instagram? Is it a little more fun because this is personal? Like, can you talk maybe just about that aspect of it?
So you want to always post stuff that is relevant to what your industry is. So obviously you might do the sourdough bread post, but you also want to sprinkle in the podcast when you're speaking at an event. Like I see you out and about, so when you're doing those networking events, and even like talk about a personal story. Like you might say, hey, I struggle with networking and I was new to it, and it took me maybe 6 months to a year to really get the feel of what it's like to network and how to master that and get past my imposter syndrome or my nerves, whatever. And when you act vulnerable like that, that's relevant. So you want to have something that's evergreen, which is always going to be relevant no matter what time of the year, no matter what year it is. You want to have something that's trending, something that's new, a new practice, a new skill, a new service, something, maybe you want to throw in some AI into it. So those are types of things that you want to have. You want to have something that's evergreen. You want to have something that's trending. Those type of things are one of the things that you want to weave into your Instagram account.
So on those trends, though, too, sometimes you don't necessarily want to be like one of a whole bunch of people saying the same thing, too.
Exactly.
So like, how do you maybe find something that's relevant now, talk about it, but not be just like everyone else?
Yeah, and it's funny that, a lot of people back in the day, they would do the little dancing. And I never did that. I thought that was, and I could dance, I could shake it. Trust me, Candy, I could show you some moves. I can dance, but I never thought that was me, that I didn't have to be like someone else. And there's some stuff that I see right now, like when people are just pretending they're folding their laundry, or maybe they're pretending to write something or email someone, and they have the action step like on this side of the video. So they say these steps there. That's something that's relevant, that, when you think about your post, you want to be consistent. And a lot of people get this in their heads. It has to look perfect. It has to be symmetrical. It has to look this. I think the most important thing when you're posting is the consistency. Is always having maybe a couple of posts a couple of times a week just to put out there, because if you're not posting, your competitor is, and then they'll be thinking about your competitor.
So is there like too many posts? Like, for instance, I have a lot of things that we create, well, my admin does for me, to promote all the episodes. So, and I have episodes aired Tuesdays and Fridays. She'll do a reel, and she'll do like a post that talks about what's going to be shown so that we're building interest. And, so there's a lot that we are sharing already on our Instagram, maybe 1 or 2 a day, even sometimes. Is there like, this is too little, too much? Like, can you give us maybe some ideas on how much we really should be posting?
Yeah, so I would think about the reach has gone down when it comes to newsfeed posts. So that's why I always deviate to stories, because I know people tune back day after day. And they sometimes are like, I didn't see that you posted this on your newsfeed, but luckily you shared it to your story. So I try to post maybe once or twice a week on my newsfeed. And there's things that you can do. Like you can do a little funny video of you with the sourdough and talk about that. And then you can hide it from your grid. So a couple of people see it for the first couple of days, and then you can hide it from your grid so it doesn't kill the aesthetics from the other stuff that you're doing, which is the heavy posts on the podcast. So you can do an informal video, have it out there, but not have it show up on your grid.
Okay. And the grid is the things that stay, those. So the images that you use to create your posts originally, those still show up, but you're saying you can then go in and say, oh, this one where I'm showing this loaf of bread that I made, I can actually hide that after a couple days or something.
Yes, yeah, you can hide that from your grid. So people are like, oh, there's Candy doing the sourdough bread. But then they don't see that. If they were actually visit your profile, they wouldn't see that post on your profile.
Okay. So obviously we hear all the time on social media, whatever platform it is, that algorithms change and now not as many people see your posts. Like you were just saying, a lot of times people don't see on the news feed, they're seeing on the stories, you know.
Yeah.
So can you maybe talk about those algorithm changes and how do we keep up with the changes and make sure that we're doing things that can be seen by those we're hoping will see our posts and engage with us?
Yeah, so again, I'm gonna keep throwing the same thing at you. When it comes to Instagram, the reach is low. So what you want to
Mhm,
do is you want to every time I post something, I post it to stories. That way, those people that
mhm,
are always coming back see it. But you might switch it up. Don't always do a reel. Don't always do a static picture. Switch it up. So do a reel one time,
mhm,
and then maybe do a carousel where people are swiping to see the image, or maybe
mhm,
just do that one image. When it comes to
mhm,
LinkedIn, I the thing is that when you post, it gets 1/10 the reach. Now, when you comment, so let's say Candy, you posted something. When you comment, it gets 1/3 the reach. So you're a math person, so you get the idea. It's not so much what you're posting on LinkedIn, it's more about how
mhm.
you're engaging and commenting on other people's feeds that's going to get your profile out there to a larger demographic past your network.
Mhm. Right. I know there's so much information to even know. And like I said, for me, I find like I'm really good on Facebook. I'm really good on LinkedIn. Like I understand how the apps work. And on Instagram, like for instance, I was just tagged the other day. I started writing articles again for someone that I've known that just started putting things back out
Yeah,
on her website and having basically people that she knows that she trusts write blogs.
yeah.
So she had tagged me and I wanted to share it and put a comment and the whole thing. And I was just struggling trying to
Mm,
get that out there, you know?
yeah.
Like, do you have any tips on like how we can effectively actually use the app and be able to share, not just put a heart and yes, we liked it or maybe comment, but actually successfully share it to our network as well?
Yeah, so if someone tagged you, I would go to the paper plane icon and then share it to your newsfeed. But the thing is that if she has a private account, you can't share the post that she did of
Mhm,
you to your stories. So that's the issue
mhm.
there. So that would be the issue, is that if she had a personal account, she wouldn't be able to share that. That's how I
Yeah,
do
I
it with.
think it was me.
Yeah,
I think her account is probably public because it's a business page too.
yeah,
I think it was just me struggling to, I hit the little thing, but I'm trying to add like the comments and then
yeah.
share it. And maybe it's shared, maybe it did. I'm not sure.
And
Right.
it's
So,
funny because, like, for example, when it comes to commenting, I did a story about this a couple of days ago. When someone leaves you a comment, you can heart it. You can pin it to the
mhm,
top of your comment so they get notified that their comment has been pinned onto your
mm,
comments. And then that's really good for FAQs or testimonies. And then if you also hold the button down when someone leaves you a comment, you can share that testimony or that comment onto your stories with the picture included.
oh, interesting. I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yeah, so someone left me a very so I have this big event on Friday, and the author or the guest speaker is so excited about that. She left me this beautiful comment. So I just held my finger down on the comment, and then it shares it to the stories and then adds her comment to the post. So then people are like, "Ooh, there's a testimony from the author of that book that she's featuring."
Nice. Yeah, I think just as a person who is running a business and doing all the things, and, I now have help, like I said, even creating some of the things that we are sharing, like, or editing these podcasts or things. I just don't have enough time to do it all myself, but I
Yeah.
still am trying to be the one to comment and do different things on there too. So it's really me. It's not
Yeah.
someone pretending to be me. And I am trying to share things sometimes, and I just struggle sometimes with the creating the stories or, doing whatever you need to do. Like one of the things I had trouble with before, because Facebook and Instagram are related too. I think
Yeah.
I had recorded a short little video and it said like you could turn this into a reel or a story or whichever one it said. I don't even
Yeah.
remember. And then when I did, it had like 3 seconds. And then I didn't know like what I did wrong so that people couldn't actually see the video. It was like this very short
Yeah.
thing. So I just need to get a few more tips, I think, myself on how to do it effectively because I get the notifications on my phone and then I do want to like or share or comment or whatever. And whatever the reason is, Instagram is just one that I struggle with more. But the other ones I get completely and I can do no problem. This one is just a little bit harder for me.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat. I'm trying to teach myself TikTok, and it's a struggle. And I think that's where we grow in understanding these platforms and the different audiences. So when you think about Instagram, each person has a different analytics. So I'm assuming you're a really good numbers person, but the thing is that on Instagram you can see your demographics. You can see what is getting more reach, who's your demographic, what time of the day, what cities that your audience is in, and that kind of pushes you to come up with content relevant to those people. So my audience
Hmm.
is going to have a different numbers, different demographics in your audience. So you can always go to
Hmm.
the insights button if you have a business account on Instagram and pull up that information and know, okay, what time of the day, what day of the week is the best time to post? And then what are the types of posts? You can go back and see what is the type of post that's getting the more traction, more engagement, more engagement, traction, reach based on the type
Hmm.
of post that you've done. So if
Hmm.
I do selfies,
Perfect.
selfies are the things that get the most reach and the most engagement. So I have to keep, and for anyone that's listening, I know people don't like doing selfies, but if you don't post the selfie, you're not going to get people looking at your post. They're going to see your
Mm.
competitor that did the selfie, and they'll go to your competitor. Think of your competitor. So I plead with you, please force yourself to take a selfie once in a while, because you're obviously going to get more likes and more engagement because they want to see you. They want to
Mhm.
see you behind the post on social media. So once in a while, make yourself uncomfortable, take the selfie, whatever you have to do. You have to have the sun hitting your face, or you have something,
Mhm.
put the lipstick on, or put the nice suit on, whatever it is that's going to make you and take you to that next level. Do it and do those selfies.
Mhm. Well, this has been informative. I found it very helpful. I'm sure listeners, when they hear this conversation, are going to appreciate the tips that you shared as well. But I know we're coming to the end of the time we have together. So I wanted to ask if you have an offer that you would like to extend to our listeners, and if they have questions or they want to contact you, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked, Kenny. So my website is beyond hyphen engagement, and I actually have an Instagram checklist. So whenever you have to post something on Instagram, it's a checklist of things that you need to keep in mind before you post. So you can find all my information. Again, it's beyond hyphen engagement.com. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Valentina, for being a guest and sharing your wisdom on this topic. Like I said, I'm sure there's other people like me who sometimes get confused on this particular platform. So I appreciate the discussion that we had today.
And I'm looking forward to some sourdough bread.
Okay, sounds good. I'll have to get you some. And to you, the listener, if you enjoyed today's topic and you want to hear additional information, you can find access to exclusive content in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in today. Would you please share this episode with those you know and leave a review on your favorite platform? And if you find our show informative, would you consider being a financial sponsor to help me continue my mission to educate business owners? A link is located in the episode description, and no amount is too small. I'd really appreciate your support. If you are interested in connecting with our guest and receiving the offer they had to share, a link to our resource page is in the show notes. Finally, if you have any bookkeeping or payroll needs, reach out to us at 310-534-5577 or contact@abandp.com. My team and I are eager to assist you. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.